Alright, so Baldur's Gate 3 is out in early access, and I've seen a lot of really negative stuff on the Steam discussion boards, despite the fact that it's getting glowing reviews. And I think a lot of the complaints about this game boil down to the fact that people don't understand the 5th edition rules, how they're being implemented in Baldur's Gate 3 by Larian, and basically how the game works. So people have complained, including a guy that wrote the Ars Technica article saying he's got 40 years of D&D experience, that the game doesn't work like Wasteland 3 or like Divinity Original Sin 2, where you have a pool of action points that can be used for movement or for attacks, and by not moving as much, you get more attacks. That's not how 5th edition works. So the basics of the 5th edition action economy and combat are movement, which are represented by this bar right here. It's orange. It shows me that I've got 9 meters of movement, which in actual tabletop rules, it's written in English units, so it's 30 feet, give or take, 25 for some of the smaller races, 35 for some other classes and races. I don't remember them. But anyway, you get about 30 feet of movement. Then you have an action, and you have a bonus action. So your actions are things like an attack. So your actions right here, these are things you can do. And then you've got these other actions. You can also cast a spell as your action, which are these spell slots right here. But let's talk about it. So main action is attack. It's what most people do when you're a melee fighter. Other things, you can throw. Now, you can either throw like a healing potion to a friend of yours, or a potion of giant strength, or whatever. Or you can throw a grease bottle or alchemist fire or something like that as an attack at an enemy. You can dash. Now, this kind of does the opposite of what people want, where it lets you turn your attack, your action, into movement. Instead of having 9 meters of movement, if I dash, I now have 18 meters of movement. It doubles my movement, but it takes away my ability to attack on that turn. Knock unconscious in tabletop, you would just say, I want to make this a non-lethal attack, and make your normal attack, and you just don't kill the person. If you want to capture them, to ask them questions, interrogate them, or for whatever reason you just don't want to murder them, you would do this and you would knock unconscious and then help. This is another one where I think a lot of people are confused as to how death works in this game. So in D&D, when a player gets knocked down, they still have to pass or fail saving throws. You roll a d20. If it's over 10, you pass it. If it's under 10, you fail it. And you get enough of those and you either die outright, and in pen and paper that means you rip up your character sheet and you throw it away and you make another one unless somebody has a wish or some other really powerful spell. Or if you pass them, you come back to life with 1 hit point. So help will actually do the latter. You can walk up to somebody and you can use your action to help them, to aid them, and it will just lift them back up. They stop doing saving throws. They now have 1 hit point again, which means if you don't heal them very quickly with either a cleric or a healing potion, they're probably going to get knocked down again, because the AI is pretty smart about targeting weak and squishy characters. So those are your basic actions. Attack, do one of these 4 things, or cast a spell. Now, your bonus action after that are things like jump, disengage, shove, hide, which Larry is being incredibly generous with, because in tabletop, all of those things are actions. They take your turn. Disengage means when you walk up to somebody and you're in melee combat with them, you're in their melee range, you're in their sphere of influence, and if you try to move away, they're going to get an attack of opportunity. They're going to get a free attack on you. A lot of games already do that. Divinity Original Sin, I know, did that. But you can disengage and you can get away from them. So you walk up, you make an attack, you disengage, and you run away. Rogues in tabletop have a cunning action that will allow them to do that. That's a feat that they can take, which, you know, makes it a little less special in Baldur's Gate 3 that anybody can do it. But you want to get away, you got to disengage first. Shove, in the tabletop, this is an action, and in this, it is ungodly useful as a bonus action, because I can walk up to this guy that's on this cliff, I can attack him and then shove him off the cliff. He's going to take fall damage, and he's going to stop being on a raised ground, which being on a raised ground means a lot in this game. If you're on high ground, if you look over here to the left, high ground makes it easier to hit. I don't know if it makes it do more damage or not, but it was the same way in Divinity Original Sin 2. You want to be on high ground. So if I can remove this guy from high ground, all the better. So the last one is hide. I don't know how useful that is in here. Sneak attacks are what they are. I haven't really messed around with them that much, but you can just try to not be seen after you do it. And the last bonus action is dip. So not so much in 5e, but in Divinity Original Sin 2, surfaces made a huge difference. Surfaces will be on fire or covered in oil or covered in blood. Now you can dip your weapon in them, and all of a sudden your mace or your sword is just a flaming sword, or your bow now shoots flaming arrows that you can inflict on the target of your attack, which is really cool. You can attack barrels and make them blow up. So again, this is some Divinity Original Sin 2 stuff that I cheesed the hell out of when I played that game, but unbelievably useful. So I'm going to go through a quick round of attacks with this guy. He is a warlock, and Warlock's most useful feature is Eldritch Blast. It is a cantrip. It does not cost me a spell slot to cast. Cantrips are free to use all day, anytime you want. If I get over to one of these, Thaumaturgy, also a cantrip. This one's brilliant in pen and paper tabletop role-playing, where you've got a DM that will play along. Thaumaturgy allows you to speak in a huge voice or do little magical tricks like lighting candles, making noises. I don't know how useful it's going to be in Baldur's Gate 3, but it says it gives you advantage on intimidation performance. I'm sure that makes a difference outside of combat. Anyway, cantrips, cast them anytime you want. Level 1 spells, level 2 spells. You cast one of them, you can see it go gray up here on my spell slot. That uses up one of your spell slots. You don't get spell slots back until you rest. For warlocks, it's a short rest, and for other spellcasters, it's a long rest. We'll get to those in another video. But anyway, so I'm going to cast a cantrip. Eldritch Blast, I have an invocation that lets me knock them back with this repelling blast. If I don't want to do it, I click on it, it turns it off. I do want it to do it, so I'm going to turn it back on, and then I'm going to go ahead and cast Eldritch Blast again. Who do I have the best shot on? This guy is weak, and I can knock him down, so I'm going to hit him. And now I'm going to move a squishy guy out the way. And I'm going to end my turn. So, movement, action, bonus action, end turn. So I'm a cleric. I'm going to walk up, and we're going to use shove. First, I'm going to try to hit him. Hit him with that. Now I'm going to shove him off here, put him on low ground, and I failed. Now, if I hadn't failed, that's going to knock him off low ground, or knock him off high ground, and he's going to take fall damage. Usually in this, it would be 1d6, about 3 fall damage. I failed, though. So I've still got movement, but I don't have a bonus action. So if I move away, he would have an attack advantage in theory, except for the fact he's holding a ranged weapon. I don't think that's going to matter. And if I try to attack him again, it says, not enough resources, action. That's because I have used my action for an attack. So realistically with her, I just need to end turn. So here's my rogue. Normally I want to backstab somebody. I can't really get in backstab range. Maybe I can. I can just do a normal attack. So I'm going to walk up, gonna slice at this guy, and he's dead. So let's see if I can hide with him so I can get a sneak attack. These are sneak attacks ranged to melee. I should have done a sneak attack melee on that one, but I didn't. And we're going to end his turn. And then we're going to walk over here with this guy. And I'm going to put some fire down on these people. There's nothing that I can set ablaze. Actually, you know what I'll do instead of that? I'm going to use a crowd control. I'm going to grease. I'm going to grease the area, and that's going to make it slick for, let's call it these 3. These are the strongest 3 here. They have to make a saving throw to not fall down. If you fall down, if you're knocked prone, it changes some things about advantage and disadvantage, but more importantly, it makes you burn a lot of movement to stand back up. So now that that's done, I'm going to back him up out of the way. And end my turn. And we'll watch the action go. But that's the basic combat movement economy of Baldur's Gate 3 and of 5th edition. Wizards of the Coast does publish 5th edition basic rule set where you can go read these things and get a better idea of how this all works. And I would encourage you to do that. I would encourage you to start playing tabletop game if you can find friends who are free on a weeknight to do it. That's the hardest part about tabletop, is finding a group of friends who are all free at the same time. And here we see the grease has knocked them prone. They have failed their saving throws, and this is crowd control. This is where the actual tabletop mages come in, because fireballs are cool and all, but being able to keep them from attacking is amazing. So if crowd controlled them, somebody else set it on fire. It's now a burning surface. They're going to take fire damage. And man, this is why I love Baldur's Gate 3. This is why I love the Divinity engine games. And hopefully as early access progresses along, because this is very, very early. The game came out literally 2 days ago. They've had one hot fix that hasn't fixed anything I've found. But the game will progress, and I have a wish list of things that I would love to see in the game, and I'm planning on submitting to Larian, but this is where we are right now. I think getting people to understand 5e combat economy will make a big difference. So hopefully you learned something, and if I can do another video talking about short rest, long rest, how that works, how other things work in 5th edition as they're being applied to Baldur's Gate 3, I would love to do it. Let me know in the comments. I'm going to link the basic rules for 5th edition if that helps anybody, and I really hope you learned something. I hope this video was helpful. Thanks for watching.